Hi, everybody. She's already unruly, and this is management. Okay. Hey, everybody. This is Sam with Renegade Soul. I can be reached at Renegade Soul 216 on all social media. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can reach me at Renegade Soul 216. My email address is sam at renegadesoul216.com. This is a series of interviews for our Women Crush Wednesdays that I've been doing with the Renegades. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Missy, and y'all have been introduced to her before, but y'all ain't seen her like this before. This is Missy, and I don't know if y'all would believe this, but she manages me. So with all that, I'm just going to allow her to introduce herself and give you a little bit of her background and what she does professionally on both aspects, because she does management and she has another career. So I'll let her explain it. Missy, who are you? What do you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I can't believe it's my turn. This makes me a little nervous, even though I've been Zooming pretty much consistently since March. It's never been an interview like this. So, yeah, just bear with us. I do want to point out, most of y'all are from Ohio, so you might see this and think it's Ohio. It's not. It's OU. We play in a bowl game tomorrow. So I need to be able to represent my school from the beginning. So I just had to slip that in there.
All right, so you did that. Okay, carry on.
All right, so I'll talk about my professional career first and then slide into the other part. But so I'm basically an assistant superintendent of strategic initiatives for a fast growth district in Houston, Texas. It's actually north of Houston. It's like I said, it's growing really fast, and I've been doing that for several years. This is my 20th year in education. So strategic initiatives, I love strategy, logistics, working through problems. If there's a problem, I can definitely solve it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more that goes along with that, but that's just a high level overview. And so a few years ago, when I started my health journey, because don't look at me now, like this is kind of like average of where like I used to be and where I was. I'm kind of like, kind of like averaging right now. I don't
The
even know
journey is complicated. The journey is complicated.
Would you say? All right. When I started my fitness journey, I guess maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I was really intimidated and not comfortable going to the gym. Didn't know what that was going to be like. I hadn't stepped foot in one since I had been probably college. It made me nervous because I was super overweight and I was like, are these people going to laugh at me? Just like women have these insecurities. So
Right.
I started off walking outside of the gym. Like I bought my membership for the gym and there was a trail outside and I wouldn't even go inside. I started off.
I don't think
Yeah,
I knew that.
really? We haven't talked about
Oh,
that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I wouldn't even go inside, right? Because I was like, I don't know how to use these machines anymore, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just walked the trail. I walked the trail and I started running. I did that for a good year before I found someone that was taking a class, a cardio class in the gym that vouched for somebody. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. Like, loved it. And then it just kind of grew from there.
Wow.
And so I started taking some cardio dance classes because my first love was always dance and cheerleading.
Mhm.
And then that I just kind of grew it from there. I knew that I had to find something that I loved to keep me engaged in fitness. And that was it. That was the hook for me. And then it just grew. Consequently, around the same time that I was just like falling in love with fitness again, Phil came to Houston. I
Uh,
took an extreme hip hop class.
uh-huh.
And so I met his manager and we started collaborating on some things. And then through that, I met Sam. And so we didn't initially fall into this relationship. It was like over time,
Well,
but
it was a long time working.
yeah, yes. And so, but over time it did, and it's just we clicked, and it's worked. So it's a little untraditional, but it is what it is, and it's good. It's
And
good.
it is what it is. And look at us now. So let's backtrack so that the people who just heard that story can know what you're talking about. Phil is he's extreme hip hop with Phil. Before he was extreme hip hop with Phil, he was my first trainer. So I was training with Phil. and he was starting Extreme Hip Hop with Phil. Back in the day, it was not called Extreme Hip Hop with Phil. It was Hip Hop Insanity, and it changed. But we was doing this class, this step aerobic class in the basement of Naturally Gifted Fitness, and we were having a blast.
Yeah.
And Phil got the attention of the people, and it blew up. And so Phil's manager, Tari, we were doing the class together. In fact, Tari is the person that brought me to Naturally Gifted. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. That's
Yes,
wild.
Tari. I was like, she lost like about 200 something pounds once. Because when I met Tari, we worked in an office building, and she was a big one. And I looked on Facebook one time. I said, "What the hell is she doing?" And I called her like, "What are you doing?" She was like, "Girl, come to this class with me." And she took me to the burn class with Phil, and I died.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm never talking to her again." And like 3 months later,
she loves burn even more than the step.
Yes, that burn class still burns. And I didn't speak to her for 3 months, but then about 3 months later, I signed up to. I kid you not. I kid you not. And then I signed up to train with Phil.
Okay.
Because I was like, this is absolutely insane. And I never felt better, even though I was dead. And so that's who Phil is. And he started this hip hop class, and it's blown up. Y'all all know him. It's Extreme Hip Hop with Phil. But as it was growing, Tari pulled us all together, and we were working to make some of the background stuff a little easier and functional. And so I was working under Tari, and apparently you were working under Tari. And so we were all three working together, even though she's in Texas, and that's how we met. This is the most roundabout meeting ever.
It is.
So now we know each other.
Yeah.
We don't know each other, but we know each other, right?
Yeah.
How would you say this relationship grew?
Really just, I would say extremely organically, right? I think from the very beginning, we were familiar, like there wasn't any pretense or any barriers. It was just like, hey, I'm gonna be really real, and this is who I am, and all of my like goodness, what's not so good, you're gonna have to take the good and the bad. That was on both ends, you know. It's like at this age, you don't really change unless there's an impetus, right? And so, yeah, it was just like here I am, and like,
and y'all already know here I am.
Right. And these are my goals. And these are the skills I have that can perhaps help get you to a higher level. Right. Because I had been doing this sort of thing in education for so long, but it was for somebody else. It was never ever for things that I was super passionate about. And it surprised me. And I didn't tell y'all that my background really is in mental health and counseling. And so before the assistant superintendency thing, before I started doing professional development, before everything, I started out as a counselor. And so my heart really is in mental health and counseling and helping people grow. And so those kind of things that came together with the fitness world, because I mean, like, you do a lot of counseling or therapy in fitness, whether or not you call it that or not, it happens, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so every trainer that I know feels like there's some sort of counselor or therapist. Sam happens to have like formal training, right? With the letters to go with it. But you know, everybody doesn't. And so those two worlds collided, and I found that I was able to use like my gifts and talents in a different way. And I have loved that. I've loved that. And so when I've seen people, especially women that look like us, trying to grow in their entrepreneurship, and there's something that I can do to help them along the way, and I've got the bandwidth to do it, I want to be able to support. So
man, listen, so let's just back up a little bit, because when we were working together on Phil's project before it got huge, I was not a personal trainer, remember? So now you find out that I didn't switch trainers now. Phil done left the game. He's blowing up. I switched trainers over to his twin brother, Philly, and I'm training with Philly now. We're kind of working this thing, just working our way into who Renegade is eventually going to be. And you find out I'm gonna start training clients. Did you have any thoughts at that point?
Honestly, golly, I have to think back. Sam, that's a really good question. Um, because so like one of my gifts and also my curses, right, is that I can see really big picture, but I also have the like granular detail. And so it really, depending on who I'm working with, I either start high level or I start like really, really like in the details and weeds. And so sometimes when I start really just like in the details, I'm not always thinking about, what the big picture is. I
Uh-huh.
know I'm going to get there, but like sometimes there are just some things that you have to do foundationally. And so I don't know if I considered that at first. It was just like, hey, like, I want to help her. I like who she is. I
Uh-huh.
like what her brand represents, right? And so like how can I help her expand that? And really that's what it was for me.
And that's totally what it was because I remember being on the phone with you and saying, I wanted to do this. I want to have this conference. I wanted to yada yada yada. I mean, it's personal training. Yeah. I mean, I'm training these ladies. I'm doing that, but
Sure.
I really want I want to have this big
Yeah.
conference
Yeah.
where we talk about forgiveness, especially forgiveness of oneself, because everybody is blocking themselves, And
Yes.
I'm like spilling all this out. We're just on the phone, just talking. And I'm sure this wasn't over a video call or anything, but I could just imagine that you were sitting there holding that phone, like, where the hell did she come up with this shit? You're like,
But but I wasn't because okay, so I just got chills again thinking about that moment. I love to hear I guess part of what like I love to hear just like the creativity, or I love to hear an idea that is it's in its like infancy, right? And like
yeah.
you take it from just like this abstract concept and then you bring it to fruition. Like that's my sweet spot. Like that's what I love. So like I love to hear the creative juices, like good vibe session. Well, it's like a vibe session, right? Like you're hearing
Exactly.
the ideas, and then it's like, all right, so this is what she wants. And that's when my mind is like, all right, so now the dirty stuff. Like what I do, what nobody sees behind the scenes is like, all right, so how do we get from A to Z? That's what I do in my everyday work. It doesn't matter the industry. How
Yeah.
do we get from A to Z to make it a seamless experience for everyone? We do it one time and it might not be 50 million people at the conference, but we do it once to figure out the kinks, right? And what like went really well or what maybe, like we want to improve, and then we scale up. And so in my mind, I was like, all right, I can do this, right? I can do this
Uh-huh.
because yeah, because I build conferences now for anywhere from 5 to 5,000 people. So I was like, a conference is a conference, it's a conference. We just have to think about the way we want it to feel, so that it's connected to the brand and it elevates the brand and right, it helps the people that we want to support. So like that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, yes, I can get down with that.
Yes. And so we
And like with
execute the
work,
first
yeah.
plan. We
So
sit
listen,
down, we
well, I was
execute
going
the
to
first.
say,
Say it.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that we execute the first plan.
Yeah.
Um, we plan. It's a very small retreat for the Renegades.
Right.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all, I don't even know. A lot of y'all didn't see that conference
Hmm.
because it was a small retreat. It was an actual retreat for the Renegades. But let me tell y'all something. I was like, I don't know how to do this. And she was like, yes, you do. You know what you want to talk
Hmm.
about. You know what you want to. So we sat down, we planned it. We
Yes.
wrote all the stuff. I put everything up on the website and everything. And I remember one day you was just like, if you don't do this right now, you're not gonna do it. And like an
Right.
hour later, I had the whole site set up. And she was
Right.
like, is this
Done.
all the fuck I had to do?
Right.
Like I had
And
to
so
direct
that
your
just gave
life.
me chills again. That gave me chills again because you had the curriculum, we had the agenda, you knew the people, like it was already inside of you, right? Like it was already there. So then it was like, all right, so let's just pull it out and make it pop.
Yep.
That's yeah. So like so many times I see with like creative visionaries, that's what I'm calling you, right? These entrepreneurs. So we have all of these like big dreams, and like sometimes we just need a person to be like, number one, you can do this shit, sorry
Yep.
for the curse. that you
Sure,
can.
whatever.
And yeah, the parts that you don't know how to do, I got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
And it was
Yeah.
amazing. And I think if you to this day, when the renegades talk about that, the renegades that were present in that retreat, when they talk about that retreat, it is so much love involved. They are like, oh my God, I cannot wait to be able to do that again. It was the most
Yeah.
amazing thing. It was holistic, it was mind, body, soul. It totally connected them to
Yeah.
Renegade Soul. Like it totally made everything just click for them, and it was amazing. So yes, we did that, and so in the end of 2019, you came to Cleveland
I did. Came to Cleveland. It wasn't cold yet because that's my rule.
because it
Like,
was like what, August
can't.
or something. I
It
don't
was
know.
September. It was September.
It
It
was
was September.
September.
Like the end of September. It was
Yes.
getting a little chilly, which is like warning for me because I don't play with snow or cold.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
do.
yeah. No, she don't. She don't. And I remember before you got here, I told you that I had this dope idea for what I want the conference to be named.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told you the name, I think you're going to get chills again. When I told you how I came about with the name, and we named it Guilt-Free Womanhood.
Yep. Yeah.
And you were like, holy shit, you just said something,
Yeah.
and we literally talked for like an hour about all the guilt-free
Yeah.
womanhood shit that we could just
Yeah. Yeah.
discuss.
And like we could have kept going. Like we could have kept going.
Literally, we could have kept going because life for women, that's doesn't
Yeah.
matter, black women, white women, Asian women, women in general,
Right.
we live in so much guilt
Mm-hmm.
all day,
Right.
every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you came in town, my idea was, well, let's just sit down and we could just jot down some ideas.
Right.
When we sat down for breakfast, we sitting in the, where was you? We was at the Ritz.
Oh yeah, at the Ritz.
We was at the Ritz. Let me tell you something. We sat down for breakfast at the Ritz. And like 2 hours later, we had a whole agenda.
Yes, the conference was done. The conference was done. We had our MacBooks out, our notes open. We were sharing. We had a collaborative doc going. Like it was just like one idea sprung to the next, sprung to the next. Connected people, who we're going to ask, how
Yes.
we're going to pull this together, our timelines. Like it just came together.
It just
Yeah,
totally came together. It is the absolute best relationship you could ask
yeah,
for.
yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, cool. You the manager, make that shit happen. And she was like, what?
What?
Oh, girl, I'm so glad you the manager here. There go all my ideas. I'm done.
And handed it over, handed it over. But you know what? After we had the like brainstorming session, we weren't done that day because we got up and walked. We walked downtown. We
Yeah.
walked
So we
downtown
wrote the whole agenda, and then
because
we
y'all, that was
left.
my first time. That was my first time in Cleveland. It was my first time in Cleveland. Yeah, and it's crazy because my uncle went to medical school in Cleveland. And so the day before, I had been just down at the hospital and it gave me chills again because I was like, my uncle had been here all these years ago.
Yeah.
His first wife and kids were all from Cleveland. And so I had a connection, but yeah, I had never been. And so, I was just having all these moments while I'm there. And
Yes.
if it weren't for the snow, like I could spend a lot more time in Cleveland. But
Well, I mean,
yeah,
we got at least 4 months where we don't have no snow, so we'll make that happen. But we literally
right.
got up from the table, went down the elevator
Yeah.
onto the street, and started scouting basically different places for the conference. This is in the
Yeah.
end of 2019.
Yeah.
We stopped by Tri-C. You probably don't remember these places. Coco's.
Oh,
Um,
I do.
we stopped everywhere and wrote and took cards, business cards, wrote down ideas.
Took pictures, talked to the people,
Yes,
whoever we talked to. Yeah.
everything. Like this conference, I mean, it was a done deal. It was a
Yeah.
done deal.
Yeah.
And then 2020 comes, and 2020 is what 2020 has been.
Right.
And I
Like, we need
remember
to, like, just sit in that mess because it's a
we were
mess.
supposed to have it in what? And we were trying to determine where my competitions would be.
Mhm.
And so that's how we were trying to plan around it because Missy accuses me of fix your face, girl. She accuses me of piling my own schedule up.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, right? Y'all feel it. You know what I'm talking about.
Y'all, they don't know
You
nothing.
know it's right, right? You see it.
So she was trying to make sure that I wasn't about to have a conference and then a competition like back
And
to
be
back.
angry, Sam, because I was like, what I can't work with is like no carbs, uh, no chocolate, whatever. Sam, 2 weeks out from a competition because y'all it's crazy in these streets. So
You ain't
yeah,
gotta act like that.
I didn't want that for y'all, and I did not want that for me. So I was looking out for all of us. You know.
Whatever. Details, details. And so we were playing around with the dates. We set a date. I can't remember what that date was. And then my dad passed away
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
And COVID was creeping up
it
on us.
was. Yeah,
And I remember I just kept saying, we have to put it off. And you were like, okay, we're gonna have to put it off, but we don't know when we can schedule it for. And you started making calls. Like we just started making calls to see
yeah.
when we could put this thing off. I mean, it was totally, we already had some renegades that had already paid
Hey,
for the
yeah,
conference and
yeah,
everything. Like it was
yeah,
full blown in motion.
sure.
And COVID was just like, I don't know. I'll let you talk about that, but we just kept trying to push it back. I don't
Hmm.
know. Do you have any thoughts on what you were thinking at the time? Like, it was so much unknown.
There was so much unknown, but the craziest thing is that I had this knowing, and I don't really know what it's called, and I don't know if we've talked about this, but so another thing I do in my side world is travel agent, right? So I've got this like
Yep.
I became a travel agent, I guess. So I came to Cleveland in September, but I had gotten my travel agent stuff like in June or July. And honestly, I just did it because I wanted the discounts and I wanted to be able to help my family and friends travel cheap. Like, I'm not trying to like blow up as a travel agent. I want the perks, right? So like
Right.
that Ritz stay, I would have paid $800 a night. I think I was like definitely paid a fourth of that, right? So people don't know that. Yeah, because I'm a how should I say this? I'm a whore for fancy hotels. I love a good hotel. I'm gonna pay
It's
money for it, but
bougie.
like, but if I'm a travel agent, I'm not paying all that. So yeah, I can like travel in
Yeah,
style and yeah, have
I
breakfast at the
personally
Ritz.
don't see anything wrong with this.
No, no, no. And so like, so I had a whole bunch of clients in the travel world who were like wanting to book trips for the spring and the summer. And usually when I hear about a trip these people are wanting to take, it gets me excited for them. And all of these ideas start flowing and I'm able to activate and make it happen really quickly, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so at the beginning of 2020, none of that was happening. Like nothing was coming together. Nothing was coming together. And I couldn't figure out what the block was. I was like, Lord, is it me? What is it? Because things that I'm usually able to make happen easily weren't connecting for these trips or any of these other projects. And so I was like, and for a while I was in a funk, like, oh my gosh, my magic is gone. Like, I don't know what was happening. I was like, it was a struggle. And honestly, I couldn't figure it out until COVID came, and I was like, Lord, wow, like I didn't know it was coming, or what
We
it
had
was.
that
I was,
conversation.
yeah, yeah,
I
but
mean, we didn't have it to this extent, but you did tell me that. And I was like, oh, it makes sense now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so like everything happens for a reason. And so while that was a huge disappointment on the travel end for people, and of course, like having to delay the conference, I just know it's given us additional time to think and grow. And when it does happen, like it'll be that much better. We've
Yeah.
had this time to just kind of marinate and let our ideas grow, and like by the time we have it, people will be so happy to come together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we don't know we don't know all of the whys, but we just have to trust that, yeah, that there's a reason, and that when it does happen, it'll be greater than we ever knew. So
It'll be
that's,
so great.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what's it like managing for Renegade Soul? What are your thoughts?
Y'all, y'all, I mean, what's the definition of renegade, Sam? Y'all want me to say that? What's the definition of
You
renegade?
know
Just think
what?
about that.
A renegade is someone who does not subscribe to the norms of society.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're both renegades
Oh,
in
fuck
separate
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so when I was like, it's not a traditional, relationship in terms like we have some conversations, y'all. And so
Yes.
sometimes you might like get a glimpse of that and be like, what? But yes, sometimes I got to talk to Sam crazy, and sometimes she has to talk to me crazy. And I tell Sam she is unmanageable, right? She's unmanageable
I'm always like, I'm so manageable. I don't know what you're talking about.
until I get some bass in my voice and use some choice words. Then she's like, "Oh, okay, really?" Because we could have had this, like this. We could have had this, but Sam won't do right. Sam will not do right.
Be
When I'm talking
manageable.
in my listen, she won't do right when I'm talking in my nice voice. So I gotta get
Indignant.
right. Yeah, and people don't expect that, but it's funny. I love it. And it always makes me laugh every single time. It never gets old. And I'm like, it could be shit could be so easy. It could be so
It'll all be so simple.
right. But if it was simple, it wouldn't be fun. So I appreciate it.
Very
I do.
true. I mean, you
Yeah.
just learn to love me. That's my
Yeah.
famous line. You just learn to love me.
You know what? I don't think there was ever a moment where I didn't. So hey, you might
Mwah.
have to grow, right? Look, you might have to grow on some people, but from the beginning, I was like, she's my people. She's kooky. I like her. I
Yeah,
like quirky
definitely.
people. Yeah, we can do this.
So what do you think of the future? Like we've had some private discussions. You have some things come down the pipeline that we don't have to discuss because I know it's not, you know, public knowledge, but what do you think about our future together? And
Oh my
wait,
God.
before you even say that, I thought for 2 seconds that she was telling me her plans, right? And I thought for 2 seconds that she was firing me.
You did. You
And I
did.
was
You were
like,
like,
I know this bitch is not firing me.
and when she said that, I was like, yeah, well, maybe I should think about it for sure. Hadn't even crossed my mind, y'all, but here she comes, right? Yeah.
But okay, go ahead. What do you think of our
Um,
future
I,
together?
so listen, so I will say, from here, like in my mind, the words I would use to describe what my expectations are and what my highest aspirations for Renegade Soul, for Sam, for y'all, I'm gonna say harder, faster,
Yes.
bigger, stronger, right? Like that's what I
Yes.
want. And I sent
Yes.
you a song earlier today that like kind of encapsulated all of that, right? Like all of that. Because I know like we've got goals for Renegade Soul, but like, like Sam got to make a living. Sam has to make a living as
Yes.
well. This is since she transitioned, like this is her full-time job. So like
Yes.
we have to meet certain quarterly goals to make sure that she can sustain like her lifestyle and her family and like raise these babies to like so they're like
Yes,
competent.
because I like bougie hotels too. Okay,
Okay.
carry on.
So like we like this bougie shit, we gotta live. So yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
grind it out. We gotta grind it out. But yeah, so yeah, I think those are the four words. I never ever want us to get caught up in thinking small or minute. Because like
Big.
there are absolutely no limits on what we can accomplish. Like that, I start with that, like it's limitless. Like I say, everything is limitless. Everything is within our power. We have everything already here in
Yeah.
order for us to be successful. We just have to tap into it in order to make it happen. So I definitely like there are no limits, and so whatever it is, we're gonna kill that shit. Like
Don't
we're gonna
kill it.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, yeah. So
And
part of managing Sam is also reining some of that in because some of the most brilliant people have these 500 ideas that they want to accomplish, right? And
yeah.
so what I haven't sprung on you yet, this is good because I was going to tell you before the new year, which is when? A couple
That's like
days.
in 3 days.
Yeah, but listen, it's just like you sprung this on me, like we're doing this interview, right? So that's how we work. Y'all, this is really how we work.
It is. It really is.
And so to
Feel it,
start the
girl.
new year, yeah, we're gonna choose your three big ideas, right? Your three big ideas.
Oh,
Um, right. And we're gonna do your strategic plan with your action steps, your three. We're gonna narrow to three and how those three will really help propel the business forward. And once we like get those three going, then we'll work on the next, but we're gonna focus on three big ideas.
oh.
Yeah.
How we
So
supposed
like
to
you
choose
gotta
three?
what?
How we only
You're
supposed
not
to choose
choosing three forever. You're choosing the top three that are going to propel us forward. And then, like once we kill that, we're gonna move on because we can't do 500, but we can do three, make that pop, get those going, and then pull in another three. Narrow before broad, like narrow. So right, remember I talked about like this big picture and the details, like the grimy shit. This is the part people don't like, but like this is the part that makes it pop. So
this is exactly how we work too. You see how she just sprung that shit on me, and this is exactly how it goes. Because she'd be like, "You need to hone that shit down," and I'd be like, "What? How am I supposed to do that? Wait a minute." Yeah, it's
and then let me tell
exactly
you,
how this goes.
yeah, yeah. So three big, three big ideas. We'll come up with the action steps and like, hey, kill it.
And this is why I love her. This is exactly why I love her. I couldn't even see myself working with anyone else because one, I mean, she says I'm unmanageable, but she totally knows how to manage me. And when she get that bass in her voice, it's really quite funny because y'all meeting her now, and doesn't she sound really sweet and very
Yeah,
professional and all that other stuff? And when this bitch lose her mind,
it's
oh,
good. It's good over here.
I mean, it gets ugly quick. Y'all don't get it. Y'all see this pretty face. Y'all think she's so sweet. Yeah,
Yeah, y'all,
baby.
it's rough. Yeah, it's rough. I just had a flashback, boy.
Oh,
Anyway,
oh God.
and when it
But
gets
I
really
love
bad,
her.
when it gets really bad, the only person that can really bring me back is my mama. Is
See,
mama? Yeah.
see.
She'll like she'll say a prayer real quick before them tables start flipping.
I know
That's
that's
it.
right.
Calm the entire room. Lord bless that woman. Anywho.
Woo. So before we end this interview, I
Yeah.
want you to say something about the Renegade family. Like, because so the Renegade Soul family, the clients, we have a chat room, we have a lot of things going on,
Hmm.
and the relationships that are formed in the Renegade family.
Hmm.
Even though you aren't per se a client, you're
Hmm.
still a part of that family. So, do you
Right.
have any observations, any comments on maybe the chat room, maybe the Facebook group, or all the different workouts? You've never come online for any of the workouts. She'd be like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. But
Wait, listen, it'd be early. Don't they be early?
they be 6 o'clock our time.
Yeah, so it's 5 o'clock my time. Y'all,
You could come on the evening. You don't have to act like that. Just give us what you think about the Renegade family.
I'm gonna say I love what Sam has built, right? It is in this day and age, it is difficult sometimes for women to have genuine relationships, right?
Mhm.
Genuine, supportive relationships. And at first, I was like, these women are chatty. I need to snooze this. I'm not a person, like, I keep my circle super small for a reason. And I have very few, like, trusted friends that are women.
Yeah.
And we've all experienced whatever that is, right? So there's no need to go into it. So I keep my circle small. And so when she started this chat, I was like, good Lord. Now they're all the women in one space and they gonna talk all day. But I mean,
And there are days where they did.
right? But The just what has grown from that is so powerful and so pure, and just I think what is needed in times, especially when when we're still experiencing a global pandemic, which is a collective trauma for this entire world, and we weren't able to really connect with our people the way we used to. Um, you already had the group up and going, right? So those
Yeah,
connections were already there, and we all found a way to pivot. But like this group didn't have to pivot because you had already begun, right? You had already built the
yeah,
culture and the climate and the community. And so in the beginning, where I was like, this is, I wasn't sure, like, right? But as I saw those relationships form and people connect and just it's a beautiful thing, and so I love it. I'm glad that you did that. She didn't say this is what I'm gonna do. Like again, she's a renegade. She just makes the decision and does it, right? So that's the unmanageable part. That's the unmanageable part, but like it works and it
yeah,
is beautiful, and it might not work for everybody, but it works for Renegade Soul. And so y'all like take full advantage of it because that doesn't exist everywhere. So
yeah,
take full advantage of it in the good times and in the bad times, right?
absolutely.
Because we all need each other. Yeah,
Yes,
in the good and bad, in the good and bad.
yes. Whew,
Yeah,
that was a whole mouthful right there. So once again, this is my manager, Missy. She's in Houston, Texas, and she's been my manager now for how long? 2 years?
oh, Sam, at least,
At least.
yeah, at least two. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yep,
every step of the way, we have done some of the most amazing things, had some of the most amazing conversations. We've gone through some real personal shit,
yeah, yeah.
good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've talked each other off of ledges.
Yeah,
You know, we've seen each other through a couple of interesting situations.
right, right.
And to call you my manager and my friend is like truly an honor. And when we sit down and put our heads together and write shit, it's magic.
It is, y'all.
It is
Every time.
absolute magic. Yeah, oh my goodness. So if 2020 had gone the way we thought 2020 was gonna go,
Yeah.
baby, you'd be looking at two millionaires right now because we had it all planned out. Now I ain't playing. I am not
Right,
playing. And what did I
right,
say to you? I said I need to walk away with, and I had a
right.
dollar amount.
Give me the number. You gave me the number.
And she
Yeah.
was like, how much? And I was like,
I
wow,
just
was
had
that a
to
big
let it
number?
kind of like rush all over me. Okay. All
And I
right.
was like,
That's
yeah,
how it
but if
goes.
I walk away with that, then that means you gonna walk away with. And she was like, oh, we need to make that shit happen, you know?
Because y'all, the money never comes to me first. I'm just like so engrossed in the task
Yeah,
and making it work. Like the money, some people like they focus on that's what propels them forward. But like I want a good product. Like I just
yeah.
want a good product and a great experience for y'all. And I just, yeah, like I want to be able to
And
make
so, and
Sam.
I want a good product and I want the money too.
Yeah, yeah, that's important. We gotta live. We gotta live. Here I am,
Yeah,
altruistic.
I
Like
like
I'm
blue
like, oh,
shit, you know?
I'm gonna do the work. And when she said like money, I was like, oh yeah, because one day, yes, I'm gonna make money, right? Like
Yeah. It's gonna be
that had
real money here because she ain't gonna do this and not make no money. I mean, she gotta manage Renegade.
we hadn't
I hate
gotten
to
to
admit it, but I'm a handful.
yes, y'all know it.
Okay,
Y'all see it. I mean, like, what color is your hair this week?
it's green. It's still green
Mm-hmm.
from competition. So, and I think it's gonna just grow out,
Oh
and
hey.
we'll go from
Wait, how
there.
much growth are you going to allow?
Well, I'm currently on a quarantine, so I'm gonna
Okay.
let this. Well,
It's
it's
gonna
it's a
be
fade out and a grow out. So this is
okay.
day 6 of a quarantine for me. So
All
I
right.
got what, 7, at
8,
least 7 more days.
yeah, 7 to 8.
Yeah, so we're still waiting on results. I feel okay, but you just never know what happens.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm on quarantine. So I'm like, I got time today, Missy. We're gonna jump on this Zoom.
See,
She
that's
like,
what I'm talking about, y'all. I'm talking like, see the unmanageable parts. See how she told me what to do?
it's a little give and take. A little give and
Mhm.
take.
Yeah. You know what? It's neat. It's necessary. It's necessary.
Yeah,
It's
so this is my manager, y'all. This is Missy. Um, she actually I can't even believe I'm getting ready to do this, but her email address is Missy at Renegade Soul 216.com.
it is.
And I remember when I assigned the email address,
Yes, Sam.
I started cussing immediately and I told her, you're going to have to check this email. You're going to have to do something with this email because I'm paying for that email address. She was like, bitch, I didn't even ask you for that email address.
Right. And then I was like, well, how much is it? All right, you want me to pay for my own? I mean, is that what's gonna get you to stop? I mean, because I will.
She gets on my nerves. That
Let
little
me know.
$5 a month. But what ended up happening though is that I started funneling all of the websites.
Haha, she's real funny.
I love her. And she just,
Y'all, and then wait, this is hilarious.
oh, here we go.
Y'all have this that we have this shared calendar that I created for personal training.
Oh,
So it is somehow connected to my personal calendar. And somehow, Sam got some stuff that ends up on my personal calendar. And every time I'm like, why is this on my shit?
yeah,
Why is it on my shit?
yeah.
And I'll be like, really? Again, y'all? Again?
It's the wax
Again?
appointments. See, what happened was I couldn't figure out why my wax appointments wasn't showing up on my personal calendar. So I put
They
it on
were on
Renegade.
mine. They were on my personal calendar.
Well, no, I had to put them on the Renegade calendar because my personal calendar, it wasn't showing up. So I put it on the Renegade calendar, which is the one that
Which now filters to my personal calendar. So every time, yeah, it's
and
an
I get
appointment.
random texts like, you got this wax appointment coming up. Why is this shit on my phone? And I'm like,
For months now, I'm like, oh my God. They
you
make it
learn to
an
love me.
appointment. Let me make sure to make it. But y'all do know, Sam touched on it earlier. Just, we have been through some things. Just know that I will put on my black hoodie
She will, y'all.
and incognito and do anything that needs to be done for this woman.
She will, and she has. It's the most amazing thing ever. I love her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she called all her roll dogs too.
Woo! You know what?
I just got chills on that one.
Everybody needs a tribe, right? Everybody.
That's right. That's right. So
You gotta
glad
know
you're with me.
people. You gotta know people that know people.
Yes, yes, yes. So again, I am Sam with Renegade Soul. You can visit us online, www.renegadesoul216.com. I can be reached at Sam at renegadesoul216.com. Missy is at Missy at renegadesoul216.com. The social media handles are all at Renegade Soul 216. We did that on purpose. You guys, thank you for
Ooh,
joining us. Oh, she thought of something else.
I know this is your closing, but y'all can be Renegade 216. I can be Renegade 713. Like what? That's my area
There
code.
she go. She go.
What?
She got a whole new handle.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna put
I
that
just
on the website and then start funneling shit to. Yeah, don't get me started now. Thank you guys for watching once again another interview. It's my honor to present to you my manager. Do you have any closing words, remarks, or comments?
Nope, y'all just let me I just want to say thank you for letting me be a part of the family. I dip in and out of the chat. I might not always say something, but I'm always reading and monitoring. That's kind of what I do. And so
Yeah,
typically when someone new comes in, Sam will be like, all right, she's a popo.
yeah.
I'm not, y'all, but like I'm not,
Y'all
but
better watch y'all mouth because Missy gonna show up in a minute.
but I am always watching like from the background to make sure that like we're all in a good place mentally. and emotionally. And if I see something that Sam is not already like tuned into, I might hit her up. But like, I genuinely care about the well being of every single one of us.
Yeah.
You know, like I want us all to thrive.
Yeah.
And so, even though you might not always see me be an active presence, I am actively monitoring.
Yes, that she
And
is.
yeah, yeah. And you guys are always on my hearts and minds, even from Texas. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Missy, for joining us for this. This goes down in the record now, and we will probably do this interview again in a few months just because things are changing so fast these days.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as we approach 2021, we had big plans for 2020. So as we approach 2021, I just know that, I mean, you sent that song today and it totally energized me. Like I was just like sitting on my quarantine couch, like, oh,
okay.
like, oh, we get ready to do some shit. Like, let's do some shit.
Right? That's how it works, though. That's how it works. It
Yep.
hit me or it'll hit you, and then like you'll share it, and it's like, all right, let's go. We got it.
Yeah,
We got
we got it. Let's do this. So thank you for that because you totally, I mean, I'm day 6. I've been sitting on my ass for 6 days.
it. Yeah,
And when you sent that, I was like, oh, I need to be doing interviews. I need to start moving. I need to start doing this. I need to start.
right.
How am I going to get there?
Yeah,
Not
one
sitting
step at a
here,
time.
even on
Right.
quarantine.
Yeah, one step at a time. Three big ideas, not 500. Three.
See
You
how
got
she
time.
just sneak that in? You see how she
You
do
got
that?
time. Yeah. You're gonna have your big ideas, but it's gonna be three of them.
Oh God. And then she's gonna give me a deadline on top of all of that. So with all that said, we're gonna close this. Here come my baby girl. She needs my attention.
Oh, hey sis. Hi, little one.
My twin, y'all. Even though she's
Yeah.
a twin, this is
Oh,
my twin, really. And
nice
so
to
with that, we're gonna end this interview because clearly she needs something. And
mommy.
thank you so much for joining us, Renegade
Love
Soul
you.
216.
Yeah,
And
love y'all.